Do you know why the angels soar? They take themselves lightly. And I just love that. And our theme for the month is Through the Looking Glass. And remembering what the Apostle Paul said, I look through a glass darkly, but then face to face. I am partly known, but when I come to that place, I am fully and completely known. So I believe in risking, that the day comes. In fact, this is a beautiful quote by Anais Nin. The day comes when it's more painful for the bud to remain closed than to open. And as we jump down the rabbit hole collectively, that we are really in charge of how far we want to go. And for me, in this lifetime, I've taken tremendous risks. And some of them have just, been amazing, and they have just flourished and lots of success. And I bought a home in Coronado on the ocean and raised my daughter in Coronado. We had a little boat slip, and we tug around in a little rubber, we call it the yellow submarine, little, those rubber boats going around all the bay. And then I've had those moments where I felt the rug was pulled out from under me. And what I know is that every time I have felt the rug pulled out from under me, I have always landed on higher ground. And you heard me say this before. This is a choice. And the human condition, yes, we have sadness and sorrow and loss and pain and outrageous misfortune at times. But what I know is that as we let go of that and we are in the moment, that as we jump down that rabbit hole and we come to each level of understanding, and I loved that we, we set the tone every Sunday morning, and Reverend Damien wanted understanding and Fleet said peace, and I'm all about joyful sacred service, because as Jesus, who became the Christ, said, let they who are great among you serve you. And it's really about sacred service. However, we have to heal our own issues. If we can't feel it, we can't heal it. And so we heal our own issues, whatever we came in. In fact, Dr. Robert Schuller used to say, I turn my scars into stars, right? And Fleet and I have done that. You walk down Palm Canyon, you'll see a star with the Prince Fleet Easton on it, and you'll see Dr. Sharon Stroud, humanitarian minister of peace. And we were nominated for these. And it's very fun, isn't it? It's fun to be in the world, to live, to love, to laugh, to experience life. As Reverend Damien read, it's not mutually exclusive, that I'm going to be all holy now, holier than thou. It's joy is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. Joy. So we jump down that rabbit hole. We go as far as we want to go. And for me, I want to just take the archetype of the magician, transform the routines of work into celebrations of life and love, and go as deep as I possibly can. And to also have the lighter touch, to enjoy life. My daughter's 5th birthday, I hired this clown that was terrible. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can do better than that. So for her 7th birthday, I was the clown. And I named myself Dusty Rose. I was fabulous. And I took this old TV and I did a puppet show inside, and I allowed myself to really experience my inner child. And then I turned to my husband and I had this little voice like this, Dusty Rose. And then I said, oh, Neil, would you hand me that? And my little 2-year-old niece said, you sounded just like my Aunt Sharon. I said, I did. Oh my goodness. Unless we become as a little child, we will not experience the kingdom of God. You can't get anything by a child because they know, right? They know. So as we open the space and the lighter side of life, and my theme for Wednesday Night Life is living in the light, and to really feel that light. And that when we are subject to the human condition, what did Jesus say? Pick up your bed and walk. That there is a power within you greater than you will ever know. Pick up your bed and walk. And as we pick up what no longer serves us, along the way, we take it with us until we don't need it anymore, and we let it go. And as we let go and let God do what God does best by means of us, guess what? We experience the good stuff. We experience the energy of extending love. Remember that love waits on welcome, not on time. So as we jump down that rabbit hole, I'm reminded of this one of the most moving experiences of this woman's life. And she said, I was 46 years old. I had 3 great kids. I had a great marriage. I was an artist. I had an art studio. Everything was working. My life was fabulous. And I remember her last name is Coburn. And she said she had a very disturbing dream. She said there was barbed wire fence, and there was these beings with great huge eyes. They were like ghostly white. And they were trying to say something in a language that she didn't understand. And she said, I woke up rattled. And then I just, how we do, we pass it off, right? And when we pass it off energetically, we are about our life until it comes up again. And a week later, guess what? She had a second dream. It wasn't just a few people, 5 or 6 of these ghostly beings. There were 12. There were like a dozen. And they were speaking, and she couldn't understand. And she kept trying to understand what they were saying, and they were motioning. And she said, again, I woke up and I was just feeling so disturbed. What is this message? And my husband said, oh, honey, you're overreacting. Let it go. You're overreacting. And, he just kind of brushed it off, right? The following week, she had the 3rd dream, and it was not, half a dozen or a dozen. She said it was like 100 beings behind this barbed wire, and they were wailing and squealing and carrying on, and she could not understand what they were saying. It was a foreign language to her. And so energetically, she had to open the space to allow God to do what God does best. And that is, she called her doctor. And she said, I need to get in to have a physical. And they said, well, you just had a physical 6 months ago. And she said, I don't care. I need to come in and do some blood work. She said, this is all I knew to do. I was following, what this intuition and what I needed to do. And so they took the blood work. And in 2 days, they called and said, your blood work is absolutely fine. She said, I was so relieved. And I was just so relieved that I was letting it go. And then the final week, the following and last dream, there was the barbed wire. No one was there. And I cried out and said, help me. What are you trying to say to me? Help me. One singular voice came out that spoke perfect English. Not this language she was trying to understand in her dream work, in the dreamscape. And this one singular voice said, look deeper. So she said, I called my doctor and I said, what is the deepest place in the human body? And he said, well, I suppose the colon. She says, then I want a colonoscopy. He said, well, your insurance won't cover it. You haven't had a history of colon cancer in your family. I don't recommend it. She said, I want this procedure. And I want to be awake for it. Remember when Buddha was asked if he was a god or he was an angel? He said, no, I am awake. So she said, I wanted to be awake. And so as the camera rolled through, her intestine and through her colon, she said, I was totally awake. And then I heard the doctor say, oh my, oh my. It was a black Mass. And he put me to sleep. And when I awoke, my doctor said, it is cancer, it is aggressive, and had you not pressed for this test, it would have been a very different outcome. She went deeper. She followed her intuition. And when we follow our intuition and we open to the depth and the energy of life, life is already there, has opened to us. That which needs to be healed is healed. That which needs to be revealed is revealed. That which needs to be known is known. And that which needs to be released is released quickly, gently, and with grace. And so as we go deep within, we remember, you know, the rabbit. Yeah, and I love the indigenous people feel the rabbit is abundance and prosperity. And the rabbit is this just a wonderful, you know, symbol of fertility. And it's so interesting that Lewis Carroll chose the rabbit for Alice because the rabbit is pivotal. And she follows after the rabbit, who is part of the collective ego. I'm late for a very important date. No time to stop and, you know, and sing and play. I'm late for a very important date. That's that ego part of us. We're so self-important. You know, we have all these schedules and all these things to do. But the truth is, we are also that being of light that needs to grow and unfold and become all that they can be. I remember I was coming out of the pet store. I'd gotten dog food. And there was this charming, darling little 4-year-old boy. And I noticed it. It was just beautiful. And suddenly, as I was, you know, approaching my car, he held up this little lop-eared bunny rabbit. He said, "Do you need a rabbit?" I said, "Gosh, let me think. Do I need a rabbit?" You know, I'm fresh out of rabbits, actually. And, you know, it was a baby. It was just so cute. So we negotiated. And I saw Mom kind of hiding behind the tree, you know, letting him do his thing. You know, he's now Og Mandino, right? He's the salesman of the year. And we make the negotiation as I'm, you know, putting the bunny in the car. He holds up another one and says, "This is her sister. They've never been apart." Oh, okay. Now I've got to rethink this. Now here's the sister and they've never been apart. So we renegotiated, and suddenly I had 2 little lop-eared rabbits. I went back in the pet shop and I got, you know, I had a rabbit hutch delivered, and they were just so cute. And I had a fruit, a beautiful area with fruit trees and a jacuzzi in the middle. And then I sort of put the bunny rabbits, you know, up against the fence so I could talk to them. And Louise Hay's birthday was actually October 8th on Friday. And she had come over that day. And I had named the rabbits Thelma and Louise. And I said, "I have a pet that I named after you." And she said, "Well, I can hardly wait." So I took her into the, you know, we were in the jacuzzi and I said, you know, "Louise, meet Louise. And this is Thelma." We had this great laugh about it. So rabbits are abundance and prosperity and fertility and wonderful energy, right? But this particular rabbit is personifying that part of each and every one of us, that ego part, that self-important part that thinks it has to get somewhere. But you know what? You want to walk the longest journey on the planet, you begin with the first step, the second step, the third step, right? And as we open to life, as we acknowledge that our messages, they come in dreams, they come in signs. They, you know, we're walking down a street and someone says something, it stimulates. We see a billboard on the way to do yesterday I did a testimonial for my dermatologist when I had radiation therapy for basal cell cancer. And they wanted me to do a television presentation because I had such wonderful results. And not so with the first surgery. And this was no cutting, no surgery, no downtime. You know, so I was very happy to give this television testimonial. And I saw this billboard and it said, "I rise." And we could feel, I rise. I am in a high place and I will not come down. I rise above the appearances, the conditions, and the effects. I rise above those old memories that surface that are very painful. You know, I was thinking the other day of all the wonderful little things that my father did for me, and he was a very abusive alcoholic, and alcoholism is a disease. And when he joined Alcoholics Anonymous, he was good for 4 years, and then, you know, the ego, that part of that ego pattern, the neurotic pattern returns with monotonous regularity. The addictive pattern returns with monotonous regularity until we deal with it, that we look it in the face. And I thought about these very sweet things, you know, that he had done for me in my life. And I was just so within myself, I just said, thank you for this wonderful memory, because I've had other very, very unhappy memories that have arisen. And when they arise, you know, we relive these experiences. So to let go and let God do what God does best is to know today is a new day. It has never been lived in. Here's the paints, here's the brushes, you paint paradise, and in you go. And if there's something that you have painted that does no longer serve you, paint it out. Paint something in that does serve you, that you open to, and that you can embrace. So on this day of going down the rabbit hole and just acknowledging the opportunity that we have to go deeper inside ourselves, to recognize the energy of the soul, that the deeper we go, the soul is there with us, guiding and directing us. We're here because we have a destiny to fulfill. And as we keep that date with destiny, our life unfolds in miraculous ways, amazing, amazing ways. And just as Alice had the courage to follow the rabbit, her instincts, down that rabbit hole to this whole new world, and to move from Chronos time, which is a chronology, right? It's the daily round, it's samsara. It's getting up in the morning, doing, you know, what we do in the morning and going to work, coming home, having dinner. That's samsara in the ancient Sanskrit. But there is a very fine line between samsara and nirvana, which is the highest state, heavenly state that we can attain to. So on this day, we have a choice. How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? Do you want to meet all of those beautiful energies within you that make that diamond, the faceted diamond that you are? And you know, what is a diamond? It's a piece of coal that made good under pressure, right? So as we feel the pressures of life and we are in the world, we're of a higher spiritual vibratory frequency. This is why I've been a minister for 46 years on October 12th, because I have grown tremendously. I have healed things I didn't know could be healed. I have risen above things in my energy field and experienced life from the very highest point of view. But I really wouldn't have that appreciation. You know, it's like, what is your pain but the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding? To open to the joy, which is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. Let's go deeper. Let's know that we are all following our intuition, and that our intuition leads to the perfection of spirit, mind, and body, that amazing connection that we have because we're here. So we're on this journey. We've gone down the rabbit hole, and now where are we going? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. We are in a high place, and we will not come down. None of these outer things move us. We are in a high place, and we will not come down. So I say to you, namaste. The divinity within me salutes the divinity within you, and the divinity within you salutes the divinity within me. And if I am in that place in me and you are in that place in you, there truly is only one of us. Namaste, Shalom, the peace that passes all understanding. And God bless us, every single one. And so it is.